Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, it was exactly 1 month and 9 days ago today that there was a train derailment in my district, and it was just to kind of paint a picture a little bit. It was in literally one of the most scenic areas of the state of Illinois, in a town called Galena, a small town. There's about 55 to 60 trains that go through that community every single day, and in this case, the train derailment happened in a very remote area. In fact, it took about an hour for the workers to get back there. They had to drive on a bike trail, and you know, on one side of it, it literally was a cliff, and on the other side was a slough that leads to the Mississippi River. The entire western border of my congressional district is the Mississippi River, the source of drinking water for hundreds of thousands of people in my region. And you know, it was the Bakken crude that was being carried, and there was an explosion. And literally, I went out to the site, and it was yards from the slough that this crude oil spilled and puddled. And you know, you think about what could have happened. And Chairman Hart, I know you said in your opening statement about the best practice and how these, what the rail cars should be as far as carrying this crude, this volatile crude. And, you know, since I think I'm dead last here, maybe I'll just... No, you're not. Am I not dead last? No, you're not. I am. Wow. Well, so it's probably maybe just a little more clarification. I think Mr. Micah was asking some questions that I'm not sure if I necessarily heard the answer, or maybe the answers were cut off before anybody could talk about those. But I guess more than anything, Ms. Feinberg, you had started saying that there's going to be a timeline that's released here pretty soon for the retrofit schedule. Can you talk a little bit more about exactly what we can anticipate? Because I'd like to be able to go back to the community of Galena and say, okay, here's what we know about this retrofit. Here's what we can tell you to maybe give you some peace of mind as these 55 to 60 rail cars go through every single day in our community.
Yes, ma'am. What I was referring to was the final rule that is sitting at OMB at the moment that we believe will be finalized in the coming weeks. And that rule, though we have not seen it in its final form, should contain both a new car standard and a retrofit schedule. So what schedule would be laid out to retrofit older tank cars to become this more safe standard?
Okay. And can we talk a little bit more about the volatility? Again, I know some of these questions have been asked. I just don't know if I have a full understanding about what can be done. Is there any talk about addressing this volatility at the site before it's loaded in the rail cars? Is there any movement along those lines? And I don't know who the best person is to answer that question, but whoever would like to address that. Mr. Butters, thank you. Yes.
As we've mentioned before, we're looking, this comprehensive approach looks at everything, and looking at the hazardous, I guess, physical and chemical properties of the product being shipped is one of those. We are working with DOE. We recently completed our first phase of that work to look at what research has been done. And at this point, there's not enough science right now for us to definitively say how this volatility issue plays into this, but also underscored the fact that the chemical and physical properties of this flammable liquid can vary, and it can be complicated. So further analysis is really needed to make sure that we better understand how volatility, how flammability, boiling point, and other hazardous attributes of this product contributes to that safety, and what can be done to lower that risk. But at the end of the day, it's still going to be a flammable liquid. It's a Class 3 flammable liquid that would still be classified that way.
And Chairman Hart, because you talked quite a bit in your statement about safety, what's the message that I can take back to the citizens of the scenic town of Galena, Illinois, about rail safety? And what would you like to tell a community that has gone through seeing these explosions that are very, very dramatic? And thank God there was no loss of life, but you know, we're talking about now tens of millions of dollars worth of cleanup that is still going on today.
Thank you for the question. I think the best we can say is that we learn lessons with each event. And to your question about volatility, our accident investigation experience has demonstrated that the primary indications of the magnitude of the disaster are going to be the speed of the impact and how much is released and how big the pool fire is, as opposed to the volatility. But to the general question, the best we can say is that we learn lessons after every event, and that's, for example, why we put out recently some four urgent recommendations, because we're learning lessons with each new accident, and the urgent recommendations address the more robust tank cars, and we're finding that they may be more robust against puncture, but they are not more robust against thermal release. And that's so we want to inform the process as quickly as we get that information out, and the best we can say is that every event we see helps us inform it better so we have better ideas on where to go to fix it.
Thank you, sir. I've used up my time. If I may say very quickly, Ms. Feinberg, you've been very, very helpful. I appreciate how you reached out to me proactively as soon as this derailment happened in our district. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms.